The blue lights flickered in the cargo bay of the starbound Pioneer as Dr. Maya Brooks walked slowly toward the containment unit. Her boots made soft clicking sounds on the metal floor. The ship was quiet except for the low hum of the engines pushing them through deep space. Maya had been studying the strange creature inside the glass box for 3 weeks now, and she still couldn't believe what they had found. The alien looked like a big cat, but not like any cat from Earth. Its fur was black as midnight, and it had 6 legs instead of 4. The most amazing thing was how it could turn invisible and then appear again like magic. The crew called it Shadow Paws because of the way it moved without making any sound. Maya checked her notebook and wrote down what she saw. The creature was about the size of a large dog, with bright yellow eyes that seemed to watch everything. Its tail was long and thin, and it had small fins behind its ears that moved when it was thinking. The scientists back on Earth would go crazy when they saw her reports. Captain Jake Morrison's voice came through the speaker on the wall. "Dr. Brooks, how is our guest doing today?" Maya pressed the button to answer. "Still the same, Captain. It watches me, but doesn't try to communicate. I think it's very smart, though. Yesterday it figured out how to open the food container before I even put it in the unit. Keep studying it. The folks back home want to know everything about our first alien friend." Maya smiled at that. Friend might be too strong a word. The creature had been caught on the planet Kepler 442b when the exploration team found it near their landing site. It had been eating some strange fruit when they stunned it and brought it aboard. That was a month ago, and the creature still seemed angry about being taken from its home. The alien suddenly stood up and walked to the front of its cage. It pressed its face against the glass and stared at Maya. She could see its breath making small clouds on the clear wall. The creature's eyes were so bright and intelligent that Maya sometimes felt like it was studying her just as much as she was studying it. "What are you thinking about?" Maya asked softly. She knew it couldn't understand her, but talking to animals always made her feel better. "Are you missing your home?" The creature tilted its head like it was listening. Then it did something that made Maya's heart skip. It placed one of its front paws on the glass right where her hand was on the outside. For a moment they just looked at each other through the barrier. Lieutenant Amy Foster walked into the cargo bay carrying a cup of coffee. She was young and had joined the crew just 6 months ago. Amy worked in communications, but she often came to visit the alien during her free time. She said it reminded her of the stray cats she used to feed back on Earth. "Good morning, Dr. Brooks," Amy said with a smile. "How is Whiskers doing today?" Maya laughed. "Whiskers? Is that what you're calling it now?" "Well, we can't just keep calling it the creature forever. It needs a name." Amy walked closer to the containment unit. "Hello, Whiskers. Did you sleep well?" The alien looked at Amy and made a soft sound, almost like purring. Maya was surprised. The creature had never made any sounds before except for angry hissing when it was first captured. "It likes you," Maya said. "It never reacts like that with me or the other crew members." Amy knelt down so she was at the same level as the alien. "I think it just needs someone to be nice to it. Being trapped in a box would make anyone upset." Suddenly, the lights in the cargo bay turned red and an alarm started beeping. Captain Morrison's voice came through the speakers, sounding worried. "All crew to emergency stations." "We have a containment breach in cargo bay too?" Maya and Amy looked at each other, then at the containment unit. It was empty. The alien was gone. "How is that possible?" Maya whispered. "The unit was locked with electronic seals, and the glass was supposed to be unbreakable." Amy pointed to the corner of the box. "Look at that." There was a small hole in the glass, perfectly round and smooth. It looked like it had been melted rather than broken. The edges were still warm when Maya touched them. "It can control electricity," Maya said, understanding suddenly. "That's how it turns invisible. It bends light around itself using electromagnetic fields." The cargo bay door suddenly slammed shut. The lights went out, leaving them in complete darkness. Maya could hear Amy breathing fast beside her. "Whiskers?" Amy called out softly. "Are you in here with us?" A low growling sound came from somewhere in the darkness. Then they heard the sound of claws clicking on metal as something moved around. The room. The creature was definitely still in the cargo bay with them. Captain Morrison's voice came through the speakers again. Dr. Brooks, report. What's happening in there? Maya tried to answer, but the communication system was dead. The alien had shut down all the electronics in the room. They were trapped in the dark with an angry alien that could turn invisible and control electricity. Stay calm, Amy whispered. I don't think it wants to hurt us. If it did, it would have. Already, Maya wasn't so sure. The creature had been a prisoner for weeks, and now it was free. It had every reason to be angry with the humans who had taken it from its home. The emergency lights suddenly came on, giving them a dim red glow. Maya could see the alien sitting in the middle of the room, watching them. It didn't look angry. Anymore, it looked sad and tired. Whiskers, Amy said gently, taking a step forward. We're sorry we kept you locked up. We didn't mean to hurt you. The alien tilted its head and made that soft purring sound again. But then Maya noticed something that made her heart sink. The creature was holding one of its back paws up, and there was dark blood on the floor beneath it. Amy, look at its paw. It's hurt. The alien had injured itself while escaping from the containment unit. The electromagnetic field that powered the cage had burned its paw badly. Now it was free, but it was also in pain and trapped on a human ship millions of miles from home. Amy took another step forward. Her hands held out to show she meant no harm. Let us help you, Whiskers. We can make your paw feel better. The alien looked at her with those bright yellow eyes, and Maya could see it was trying to decide whether to trust them or not. Amy Foster moved very slowly toward the injured alien. She kept her hands where Whiskers could see them and spoke in a soft voice like she used to do with scared animals back home. It's okay, little one. I know you're hurt and scared. Let me help you. The alien backed away, dragging its injured paw behind it. Dark blood left a trail on the metal floor. Maya watched from behind, ready to run if the creature became dangerous. But Amy kept walking forward, not afraid at all. Amy, be careful, Maya whispered. We don't know what it might do. Look at it, Dr. Brooks. It's just a hurt animal. It doesn't want to fight us. It wants to go home. Whiskers stopped moving and sat down heavily. The alien was breathing hard, and its bright yellow eyes looked tired and sad. Amy knelt down about 6 feet away and made soft clicking sounds with her tongue. That's what I used to do for the stray cats in my neighborhood, Amy explained quietly. It means I'm friendly. The alien tilted its head and made a small sound back. Not quite a purr, but close. Amy smiled and clicked her tongue again. This time, Whiskers answered with a longer sound, almost like it was trying to talk. Captain Morrison's voice came through the speakers, making everyone jump. Dr. Brooks, we've got the door unlocked. Are you both okay in there? Maya looked at Amy, who shook her head quickly. Don't let them come in yet, Amy whispered. Tell them we're fine, but we need more time. Maya pressed the communication button. We're safe, Captain. The alien is injured, and Lieutenant Foster is trying to help it. Give us a few more minutes. There was a long pause. Then Captain Morrison's voice came back, sounding worried. 5 minutes? Then we're coming in whether you like it or not. Amy turned back to Whiskers. The alien was still sitting in the same spot, watching her carefully. She could see the burn on its paw was bad. The skin around it was red and swollen, and the bleeding hadn't stopped. I'm going to help you, Amy said softly. But first, I need to get some supplies. She stood up slowly and walked to the medical kit that was mounted on the wall. Every room on the ship had one in case of emergencies. Amy had learned basic first aid during her training, and she had helped injured animals. Many times before the alien watched her every move but didn't try to escape. Maybe it was too tired, or maybe it was starting to trust her. Amy hoped it was trust. She opened the medical kit and took out bandages, antiseptic, and pain medicine. Then she remembered something important. The medicine was made for humans, not aliens. It might help Whiskers, or it might make the injury worse. Dr. Brooks, Amy said, do you think human medicine would be safe for it? Maya thought for a moment. I don't know. Its blood looks similar to ours, and its body temperature seems normal. But we could be making a terrible mistake. Amy looked at Whiskers, who was still bleeding on the floor. If we don't try to help, it might die anyway. At least this way we have a chance. She walked back to the alien very slowly. Whiskers tensed up when she got close, but it didn't run away. Amy sat down on the floor about 3 feet away and put the medical supplies between them. See, I want to help your paw feel better. She opened the bottle of antiseptic and poured some on a clean cloth. The smell was strong, and Whiskers wrinkled its nose. But when Amy held out the cloth, the alien leaned forward and sniffed it carefully. It's medicine, Amy explained. It will clean the hurt and stop infection. To her surprise, Whiskers stretched out its injured paw toward her. The alien was still scared, but it seemed to understand that Amy was trying to help. Amy gently took the injured paw in her hands. The alien's skin felt warm and soft, almost like a cat's paw but bigger. She could feel Whiskers trembling, but the alien didn't pull away. This might hurt a little, Amy warned. She carefully cleaned the burn with the antiseptic. Whiskers made a small crying sound and its claws came out, but it didn't try to scratch Amy. When she was done cleaning, she wrapped the paw in soft bandages. There, Amy said. That should help it heal. Whiskers looked down at its bandaged paw, then up at Amy. The alien's yellow eyes seemed brighter now, and it made that soft purring sound again. Maya watched in amazement. I can't believe it let you do that. Most wild animals won't let strangers touch them, especially when they're hurt. Maybe it's not so wild, Amy said. Maybe it's just smart enough to know when someone wants to help. The cargo bay door opened, and Captain Morrison walked in with Chief Security Officer Ryan Clark. Ryan had his hand on his stun gun, ready for trouble. But when he saw Amy sitting calmly next to the alien, he looked confused. What's going on here? Captain Morrison asked. The alien escaped and got hurt, Maya explained. Lieutenant Foster helped it. Ryan Clark stepped forward. We should put it back in the containment unit before it causes more problems. No, Amy said firmly. Look at it. It's not trying to hurt anyone. It's just scared and hurt and wants to go home. Captain Morrison looked at Whiskers, who was still sitting quietly next to Amy. The alien looked back at him but didn't seem afraid anymore. It's not acting like a dangerous animal, the captain said slowly. But we can't just let it run around the ship. Amy had an idea. What if we gave it one of the empty rooms? Somewhere it can rest and heal, but not locked up like a prisoner. Ryan Clark shook his head. That's against regulations. Alien specimens must be contained. It's not a specimen, Amy said, getting a little angry. It's a living creature with feelings, and it's hurt because of our containment unit. Captain Morrison looked thoughtful. He was a good captain who cared about his crew, but he also knew the rules. Keeping an alien prisoner was one thing. Letting it live freely on the ship was something else entirely. What if we compromised? He finally said. We give it a room, but we monitor it carefully. And Lieutenant Foster, since it seems to trust you, you'd be responsible for taking care of it. Amy smiled. I'd be happy to do that, Captain. Whiskers looked up at her and made a soft sound that almost sounded like it was saying thank you. Amy gently petted the alien's head, and Whiskers leaned into her touch just like a cat would. I think this is the beginning of a very interesting friendship, Maya said, watching them together. 3 days later, Amy was sitting on the floor of room C7 with Whiskers. The alien had been given one of the small guest rooms that were meant for visiting scientists. It wasn't much, but it was better than the glass cage. Amy had put soft blankets on the floor and brought toys from the ship's recreation room. Whiskers was lying on its side, and Amy was carefully changing the bandages on its paw. The burn was healing well, and the swelling had gone down. The alien no longer flinched when Amy touched the injured area. You're getting better every day, Amy said softly. Soon you'll be able to run around properly again. Whiskers made a soft, chirping sound and nuzzled Amy's hand with its head. Over the past few days, the alien had started making different sounds. Amy was beginning to think they might mean different things, like a simple language. Dr. Maya Brooks walked into the room, carrying her notebook and a small scanner. She had been visiting every day to study Whiskers, but now she was more interested in the alien's behavior than its biology. "Good morning, Amy. How is our friend today?" "Much better." "Watch this." Amy held up a small ball and threw it gently across the room. Whiskers immediately ran after it, picked it up in its mouth, and brought it back to Amy. "It learned to play fetch in just 2 days," Maya wrote notes in her book. "That shows very high intelligence. Most animals take weeks to learn new games." Amy had noticed other smart things too. Yesterday, Whiskers had figured out how to open the room's door by watching Amy do it once. The alien had also learned to turn the lights on and off by touching the control panel with its paw. "Dr. Brooks, I think it's trying to communicate with us," Amy said. "It makes different sounds for different things. Like when it's hungry, it makes a short clicking sound. When it wants to play, it makes a longer, musical sound." Maya looked interested. "Have you tried talking back to it?" "A little. I've been copying the sounds it makes and it seems to understand." Amy made a soft clicking sound and Whiskers immediately stood up and walked to its food bowl. Even though the bowl was empty, the alien looked at it, then back at Amy as if asking for food. "Amazing," Maya said. "It's definitely trying to communicate." Captain Morrison's voice came through the room's speaker. "Dr. Brooks, please report to the bridge. We have a situation." Maya looked worried. "I'll be back later, Amy. Keep working with it." After Maya left, Amy sat down next to Whiskers. The alien seemed to sense that something was wrong. It made a soft questioning sound and tilted its head. "I don't know what's happening either," Amy said. "But I'm sure it will be okay." Whiskers moved closer to Amy and put its head on her lap. Amy petted the alien's soft fur and felt how warm and alive it was. It was hard to believe that just a few days ago, everyone thought this creature was dangerous. Later that evening, Amy found out what the situation was. Captain Morrison called a meeting in the main conference room. Amy, Maya, and the other senior officers sat around the big table while the captain explained the problem. "We've been having technical difficulties," Captain Morrison said. "The navigation system has been acting strange. We keep changing course slightly without anyone giving the command." Chief Security Officer Ryan Clark looked angry. "I think it's the alien. Ever since we let it out of containment, we've had problems with our electronics." Amy felt her heart sink. "But Whiskers has been in the room with me. It hasn't been anywhere near the navigation system." "The creature can control electromagnetic fields," Maya said. "It might be able to affect our systems from a distance." Captain Morrison nodded. "That's what we're thinking. The question is whether it's doing this on purpose or by accident." "It has to be on purpose," Ryan said. "The course changes are too precise to be random. It's trying to take us somewhere." Amy thought about this. Whiskers was smart, much smarter than they had first realized. If it could control the ship's systems, it could definitely do it on purpose. "Where is it trying to take us?" Amy asked. The captain touched a button, and a star map appeared on the wall screen. A red line showed their current course, and a blue line showed where they were supposed to be going. "It's trying to take us back to Kepler 442b, Captain Morrison said. "Back to where we found it," Amy suddenly understood. "It wants to go home. It's trying to get back to its planet." "That's impossible," Ryan said. "We're already 3 weeks away from that system. We can't just turn around and go back." "Why not?" Amy asked. "We're an exploration ship. Our job is to learn new things. Maybe we could learn more by taking it home." Maya looked thoughtful. "There might be more of its species on that planet. Think about what we could learn if we could study an entire population." Captain Morrison shook his head. "Our mission is to return to Earth with what we've learned. Command is expecting us back in 6 months." Amy felt frustrated. She could see that Whiskers was unhappy being away from its home. The alien tried to hide it, but sometimes she caught it sitting by the room's small window, looking out at the stars with such sad eyes. "Captain, what if we compromised again?" Amy said. "What if we let Whiskers help us understand what it wants? Maybe we can find a solution that works for everyone." "How do you suggest we do that?" Captain Morrison asked. "Let me work with it more. Dr. Brooks thinks it's trying to communicate. Maybe if we can really talk to it, we can figure out what to do, Maya nodded. That's actually a very good idea. If we can establish real communication, we might learn things about its species that we never imagined. Ryan Clark still looked unhappy. And what if it's dangerous? What if it's been pretending to be friendly while it plans something? Amy thought about Whiskers lying with its head on her lap, making soft purring sounds when she petted it. She thought about how gently the alien took food from her hand, and how it had learned to play games just to make her happy. I don't think it's dangerous, Amy said. I think it's just homesick. Captain Morrison was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. All right, Lieutenant Foster. You have 1 week to establish better communication with the alien. If you can find out what it really wants and convince it to stop interfering with our navigation, we'll consider your suggestions. Amy felt excited and nervous at the same time. She had 1 week to learn how to really talk to an alien. It seemed impossible, but she had to try. Whiskers was counting on her, even if it didn't know it yet. That night, Amy sat in room C7 with Whiskers curled up next to her. The alien was sleeping peacefully, its bandaged paw tucked under its body. Amy gently stroked its fur and made a promise. I'm going to help you get home, Whiskers. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to find a way. In its sleep, the alien made a soft sound that almost sounded like it was saying thank you. Amy spent the next 4 days trying everything she could think of to talk with Whiskers. She tried drawing pictures and showing them to the alien. She tried making hand signals and copying the sounds Whiskers made. She even tried playing music. To see if the alien would respond, nothing seemed to work the way she wanted. Whiskers was clearly intelligent and seemed to understand that Amy was trying to communicate, but they couldn't have a real conversation. Amy was getting frustrated, and time was running out. Dr. Maya Brooks had been helping with special equipment from the science lab. She brought computers that could analyze the sounds Whiskers made and machines that could detect the aliens' electromagnetic fields. But even with all this technology, they still couldn't understand what Whiskers was really trying to say. On the 5th day, Amy was sitting on the floor feeling very tired. She had been working with Whiskers for hours, and her head hurt from concentrating. So hard, the alien seemed to sense her frustration and moved closer to her. I'm sorry, Whiskers, Amy said sadly. I'm trying my best, but I can't figure out how to really talk to you. Whiskers made a soft sound and gently touched Amy's hand with its good paw. The alien's yellow eyes looked sad too, like it understood that Amy was upset. Maya walked into the room carrying a new piece of equipment. Amy, I want to try something different. This machine can read brainwaves. Maybe we can understand what Whiskers is thinking. Amy looked at the machine. It had wires and sensors that looked complicated. Will it hurt? No, it just reads electrical signals. Like when doctors check your heart with those sticky patches? Maya carefully placed the sensors on Whiskers' head. The alien didn't seem to mind. It sat very still while Maya turned on the machine. Numbers and lines appeared on the screen, but Amy couldn't understand what they meant. This is interesting, Maya said, looking at the display. The brain patterns are much more complex than I expected. Look at this, she pointed to wavy lines on the screen. These patterns are similar to human brainwaves when people are thinking about complicated problems. This alien is much smarter than we thought. Amy had already figured that out from living with Whiskers for a week. The alien learned new things every day and remembered everything Amy taught it. But seeing the proof on the machine made it feel more real. Can you tell what it's thinking about? Amy asked. Maya adjusted some controls. Not exactly, but I can see when it's focused on something specific. Try talking to it and see what happens. Amy turned to Whiskers. Hello, friend. Can you understand? Me? The lines on the screen changed dramatically. They became more organized and showed a clear pattern. It definitely understands you, Maya said excitedly. Look at how its brain activity changes when you speak. Amy felt hopeful for the first time in days. Whiskers, are you trying to go home? Again, the patterns on the screen changed. This time, they looked even more organized, like the alien was thinking very hard about something important. Whiskers suddenly stood up and walked to the wall. It touched the metal surface with its paw, and the lights in the room flickered. Then something amazing happened. The wall screen turned on by itself, and a star map appeared. "It's controlling the computer," Maya whispered, without touching any buttons. The star map showed their current location, and then a line appeared pointing toward a distant star system. It was Kepler 442b, Whisker's home planet. "You want to go home," Amy said. "I understand that. But can you tell us why it's so important?" Whiskers touched the wall again, and the screen changed. Now it showed not just one star system, but many. Lines connected different stars, like a network spreading across space. Maya stared at the screen. "Amy, I think it's showing us other worlds, places where its species lives." The alien made a series of different sounds, each one causing new lines to appear on the screen. Soon there was a map of dozens of star systems, all connected by the glowing lines. It's not just one planet, Amy realized. There are many worlds with creatures like Whiskers. Whiskers touched the wall once more, and the screen zoomed in on Earth. A red warning symbol appeared next to their home planet. "What does that mean?" Amy asked, feeling worried. The alien looked at Amy with its bright yellow eyes and made a long, complex sound. The brainwave machine showed the most organized pattern yet, like Whiskers was trying very hard to explain something important. Maya studied the readings. "I think it's trying to warn us about something." Amy knelt down next to Whiskers. "What is it? What are you trying to tell us?" The alien gently took Amy's hand in its paw and held it against the wall. Suddenly, Amy felt a strange, tingling sensation like a mild electric shock. Images flashed through her mind, not her own thoughts, but something else. She saw spaceships, but not human ships. These were different, sleek and silver, moving through space toward a blue planet. She saw creatures that looked like Whiskers, but they were wearing clothes and using tools. They were not just animals, they were people. "Maya," Amy said in a shaky voice, "Whiskers isn't just an animal. It's a person. Its species has spaceships and cities and technology." The images in Amy's mind continued. She saw the silver ships watching Earth from far away. She saw the creatures discussing something important in a large room. Some of them looked angry, others looked worried. "They've been watching us," Amy continued. "Whiskers was sent to study humans. It's some kind of scout or explorer." Maya looked shocked. "You mean we didn't just capture a random alien animal? We captured someone who was on a mission." Whiskers made another sound, and more images appeared in Amy's mind. She saw herself taking care of the alien's injured paw. She saw the kindness she had shown and how surprised Whiskers had been by her gentleness. "It wasn't expecting humans to be kind," Amy said. "Most of its people thought we would be cruel or dangerous, but when I helped it, that changed something." The images showed the silver ships moving closer to Earth. Some of them had weapons, but others did not. Amy realized that Whiskers' people were divided about what to do with humanity. "Some of them want to be friends," Amy said, "but others think we're dangerous and should be stopped." Whiskers touched the wall again, and the screen showed a countdown. There were numbers decreasing, like a timer. "What's that counting down to?" Maya asked. Amy felt the answer in her mind through the connection with Whiskers. "It's how long we have before they make their final decision about Earth. If Whiskers doesn't report back soon, they'll assume the worst." Maya and Amy looked at each other. They had discovered something incredible and terrifying at the same time. Humans were being watched by an advanced alien civilization, and their future depended on what one injured alien thought about them. "We need to tell Captain Morrison," Maya said. Amy nodded, but she was still holding Whiskers' paw. The alien looked at her with trust and friendship, the same way it had looked at her when she first bandaged its injury. "Don't worry," Amy said softly. "We'll figure this out together. I won't let anything bad happen to you or to us." Whiskers made the soft purring sound that Amy had learned meant happiness and trust. Even though everything had become much more complicated, the friendship between the human and the alien remained strong. Captain Morrison stood in the conference room looking very serious. Amy, Maya, and the other senior officers sat around the table while Whiskers lay quietly on a soft blanket in the corner. The alien had refused to leave Amy's side since sharing its memories with her. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," Captain Morrison said slowly. "Our alien friend here is actually a scout from an advanced civilization. They've been watching Earth, and they're deciding whether to make contact with us or consider us a threat?" Amy nodded. "That's right, Captain. And the countdown we saw means they expect Whiskers to report back soon. If it doesn't, they might think something terrible happened to their scout." Chief Security Officer Ryan Clark looked nervous. "How do we know this isn't some kind of trick? Maybe the alien is lying to make us lower our guard." Amy felt angry at that suggestion. Whiskers isn't lying. I felt its memories. I saw what its people are really like. They're not trying to hurt us. But some of them do think we're dangerous, Maya added. From what Amy described, they're divided into two groups. One group wants to learn about humans peacefully. The other group thinks we should be stopped before we become a problem. Captain Morrison walked over to look at Whiskers. The alien watched him calmly but moved a little closer to Amy. "What exactly was your mission?" he asked the alien. Whiskers stood up and walked to the wall screen. It touched the surface, and images appeared showing the alien's journey to Earth. Amy watched the pictures and translated what she understood through their mental connection. "It was sent to observe human behavior," Amy explained. "Specifically, to see how we treat other species and how we react to things we don't understand. The way we responded to finding Whiskers would help its people decide what humans are really like." Ryan Clark frowned. "So this whole thing has been a test? We're being judged by aliens?" "Not judged exactly," Amy said. "More like studied. Whiskers people want to know if humans can be trusted before they reveal themselves." The screen changed to show images of other alien worlds. Amy could see cities that looked like they were made of crystal and ships that moved without making any sound. The technology was far more advanced than anything humans had. "They could easily destroy us if they wanted to," Maya said quietly, "but they're choosing to study us first. That suggests they prefer peaceful solutions." Captain Morrison was thinking hard. Amy could see the worry on his face. As captain of the ship, he was responsible for his crew's safety. But now he was also responsible for representing all of humanity. "What happens if we fail this test?" he asked. Amy touched Whiskers gently, and more images flowed into her mind. She saw the silver ships moving closer to Earth's solar system. Some of them were preparing weapons while others were trying to stop them. "There's going to be a big meeting soon," Amy said. "The two groups will argue about what to do with Earth. If the peaceful group wins, they'll make contact and try to be friends. If the other group wins—" She paused, not wanting to say the scary part. "If the other group wins, they'll take action to prevent humans from becoming a threat," Maya finished. "They might isolate Earth or worse." Ryan Clark stood up quickly. "Then we need to get word back to Earth Command immediately. Our military needs to prepare for possible alien contact." "No," Amy said firmly. "That's exactly the wrong thing to do. If Whiskers reports that our first reaction was to prepare for war, it will prove that the aggressive group is right about humans." Captain Morrison nodded slowly. "Lieutenant Foster has a point. Our response to this situation is still part of the test." Amy looked around the room at all the worried faces. She understood why everyone was scared. Learning that powerful aliens were watching Earth and deciding humanity's future was terrifying. But she also knew that fear would lead them to make bad choices. "Whiskers people have been watching us for a long time," Amy said. "They've seen our wars and violence. The aggressive group thinks that's all humans are capable of. But they've also seen our art and music and the way we help each other. The peaceful group believes humans can be better." She stood up and walked over to Whiskers. The alien nuzzled her hand and made a soft sound. "What happened between Whiskers and me is important because it shows which group is right. When I found an injured alien, I didn't try to hurt it or use it as a weapon. I tried to help it feel better." Maya was writing notes as fast as she could. So the real test isn't how strong we are or how advanced our technology is. It's about our character, whether we choose kindness over cruelty when we have the power to choose either one. Exactly, Amy said. Whiskers was hurt and helpless when it escaped from the containment unit. I could have called security and had it stunned and locked up. Again, instead I bandaged its wounds and became its friend. Captain Morrison was quiet for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was thoughtful. What does Whiskers need from us now? How do we prove that humans deserve a chance? Amy knelt down next to the alien and gently touched its head. Images and feelings flowed between them. She could sense Whiskers' hope and worry at the same time. It needs to go home, Amy said. Not just because it misses its family, but because it has to report what it learned about humans. The big meeting is happening soon, and Whiskers is supposed to tell them whether humans are friends or enemies. Ryan Clark shook his head. We can't just turn around and fly back to its planet. That would add months to our mission. What if we sent a message instead? Maya suggested. We could use our communication systems to contact its people directly. Whiskers made an urgent sound and touched the wall screen again. New images appeared showing human radio signals spreading out into space. Then the images showed alien ships intercepting those signals and analyzing them. They're already listening to our communications, Amy realized. They know about our wars and conflicts because they've been monitoring our broadcasts for years. The aliens showed more images of news reports about violence and environmental destruction. Amy could feel Whiskers' sadness as it shared what its people thought about humanity. Most of what they've seen makes humans look bad, Amy said. Wars, pollution, cruelty to animals. That's why the aggressive group thinks we're dangerous. Captain Morrison looked grim. So what can we do? How do we show them the good side of humanity? Amy smiled and looked at everyone in the room. We do what we've been doing all along. We treat Whiskers like a friend instead of a prisoner. We choose to help instead of hurt. We show them that when humans are faced with something different and strange, we can choose compassion. She paused and looked directly at the captain. But most importantly, we trust Whiskers to tell its people the truth about us. We trust that our friendship means something. Whiskers stood up and walked to Amy. The alien gently took her hand in its paw and made a sound that Amy had learned meant gratitude and love. Even though the future was uncertain and scary, the bond between the human and the alien gave them both hope. All right, Captain Morrison said. We'll help Whiskers get home. It's time to find out if friendship is stronger than fear. 2 weeks later, the starbound Pioneer was approaching the Kepler 442b system. Captain Morrison had made the difficult decision to change their mission and take Whiskers home. The crew had worked together to send messages to Earth explaining what was happening, but they wouldn't get a reply for months because of the vast distance. Amy stood on the bridge next to Whiskers, watching the alien's home planet grow larger on the main screen. The alien's bandaged paw had healed completely, leaving only a small scar as a reminder of their first meeting. Whiskers seemed excited and nervous at the same time, making soft chirping sounds as it recognized familiar stars. There, Whiskers said clearly. Everyone on the bridge turned to stare. It was the first human word the alien had ever spoken out loud. Amy smiled and squeezed Whiskers' good paw gently. Yes, that's your home. Dr. Maya Brooks looked up from her instruments. Captain, I'm detecting multiple ships approaching our position. They're not showing up on our normal sensors, but the electromagnetic readings are off the charts. Captain Morrison nodded. Red alert, but weapons remain offline. We're here as friends, not invaders. Through the view screen, they could see shapes moving in space that seemed to bend light around them. The alien ships were beautiful and strange, looking more like living creatures than machines. They moved in perfect formation, surrounding the human ship but not threatening it. Whiskers walked to the communication panel and placed its paw on the controls. The view screen changed, and suddenly they were looking at the bridge of one of the alien ships. The creature on the screen looked like Whiskers but older and more dignified. It wore a simple robe that shimmered with different colors, and its yellow eyes were wise and calm. When it spoke, Amy could understand the words in her mind through her connection with Whiskers. "I am Commander Zara of the Vorthek Exploration Fleet," the alien leader said. "We are pleased to see our scout has returned safely." Captain Morrison stepped forward. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the human vessel Starbound Pioneer. We've brought your scout home as soon as we learned how important it was." Commander Zara looked surprised. "You discovered our scout's true nature and chose to return it rather than keep it for study?" Amy moved closer to the screen. "Whiskers is our friend. Friends help each other get home when they're lost." The alien commander's eyes focused on Amy. "You are the human who cared for our scout's injuries." "Yes," Amy said simply. "Anyone would have done the same thing." "No," Commander Zara said softly. "That is where you are wrong. Very few species in the galaxy would show kindness to an injured stranger, especially one that had been causing them problems." Whiskers made a series of sounds, and Amy could sense through their mental connection that it was telling its commander everything that had happened. The commander listened carefully, its expression growing more thoughtful with each moment. "Our scout tells me that you treated its wounds with your own medicine, even though you didn't know if it would be safe. You gave it freedom when you could have kept it locked up. You played games with it and showed it affection." Commander Zara paused. "Why did you do these things?" Amy thought about the question. "Because it was hurt and scared and far from home. I've felt that way before, and I know how much it helps when someone is kind to you." "Even though our scout had been interfering with your ship systems?" "It just wanted to go home," Amy said. "I understood that. I would have done the same thing if I was trapped on someone else's ship." Commander Zara was quiet for a long moment, then something amazing happened. The alien smiled, and Amy could see tears in its yellow eyes. "For many cycles, our people have debated whether humans were ready for contact with the greater galaxy," Commander Zara said. "Some believed your species was too violent and aggressive. Others thought you might be capable of growth and wisdom." The view screen split, showing multiple alien ships. Amy could see different commanders listening to the conversation. "Your actions have provided the answer we needed," Commander Zara continued. "You have shown that humans are capable of compassion, even toward those who are different from you. You chose to help rather than harm, to understand rather than fear." Captain Morrison looked relieved but also nervous. "What does this mean for humanity?" "It means that Earth will be welcomed into the galactic community as a friend rather than monitored as a potential threat," Commander Zara said. "Your people will be invited to learn from other civilizations and share your own unique gifts with the galaxy." Amy felt tears in her own eyes. All of this had started because she couldn't bear to see a hurt animal suffering. Now her simple act of kindness was going to change the future for all humans. Whiskers nuzzled Amy's hand and made the soft purring sound she had grown to love. Through their mental connection, she could feel the alien's gratitude and affection. "There's one more thing," Commander Zara said. "Our scout has requested permission to serve as the first Vorthek ambassador to Earth. It wishes to help both our species learn to understand each other." Amy looked at Whiskers in surprise. "You want to come back with us?" The alien touched Amy's hand and shared an image in her mind. She saw herself and Whiskers working together on a space station, helping humans and aliens learn to communicate and become friends. "But what about your family? Don't you want to stay home?" Whiskers showed her more images. Its family was proud of its mission and supported its choice to help build bridges between the species. They understood that some duties were more important than personal comfort. Captain Morrison smiled. "It sounds like we'll be taking our friend on a round trip." Over the next few days, Amy and Whiskers visited the alien world. Amy was amazed by the crystal cities and the gentle, intelligent people she met. The Vorthak were fascinated by human culture and asked hundreds of questions about Earth. The most wonderful moment came when Amy met Whiskers' family. They welcomed her like she was one of their own children, grateful for the kindness she had shown their scout. Whiskers' mother gave Amy a small crystal pendant that would help her communicate with any Vorthak she met. When it was time to leave, Amy stood on the bridge with Whiskers as they watched the alien world grow smaller behind them. This time, they were heading back to Earth with the most important cargo in human history, the promise of friendship with the stars. Are you sad to leave home again? Amy asked. Whiskers looked at her with those bright yellow eyes and made a sound that Amy had learned meant happiness and hope. Not sad, Whiskers said in its new human words. Going home with friend. Amy smiled, and gently touched the scar on Whiskers' paw, the small mark that had started their incredible journey together. Yes, she said, we're going home together. As the starbound pioneer headed back toward Earth, Amy knew that everything was about to change. Humans would soon learn that they were not alone in the universe, and that friendship was the most powerful force in the galaxy.